Now, the pressing, alos, is the OQM procedure. It requires the self to consciously discard the peel, the irrelevant outer layer, and the bitter pulp.
Which represent.
The superficial context, maybe corrupted interpretations, the emotional noise, the flawed assumptions surrounding the event or text, all the stuff that isn't the core operational essence.
So it's like cognitive juicing. You're not just looking at the pomegranate. You're applying the OQM to extract the pure nutritional value of the lesson.
Exactly.
You
And
know?
what's left after the pressing? The juice. That's the pure operational alhack, the governance truth hidden within the raw event.
You transform a static description of reality into an actionable instruction for navigating reality.
Yes, and this transformation applies everywhere. Take something like geopolitics or economics. Rational thinking, RT, sees conflicts, GDP figures, market swings as, the hard reality.
They seem pretty real when you're in them.
Of course. But the ADGE framework governs them differently. It reframes them. It describes these massive global events as apparitions and phantasms.
Phantasms, meaning not real.
Real in the simulation, but their ultimate purpose isn't what RT thinks it is. They are meticulously designed stress tests for the self. The real eternal output of global tension or economic booms and busts is the cognitive data they force us to generate.
So a global recession isn't just about economic loss. It's a large-scale test of fear, of trust, of reliance, checking the stability of millions or billions of individual worldviews, their arch systems.
Precisely. The real development coefficient of the economy isn't GDP, it's the potential to yield eternal baraka, which here means ultimate utility and efficiency in the self's cognitive growth. That growth is independent of whatever temporary material stuff the simulation produces.
Because the simulation's output can't ultimately validate the code running the simulation itself.
You've got it. No internal data point can validate the container.
Okay, let's bring in another piece. How does this OQM method apply to something like, say, modern physics, quantum mechanics?
Ah, right. So rational thinking looks at quantum physics and it sees, well, a very strange but powerful mathematical description of how subatomic particles behave. It's abstract, counterintuitive.
Yeah, famously weird.
Exactly. But within this ADGE framework, quantum mechanics gets transformed. It becomes a powerful metaphor for the very interface between consciousness, the self, the phenopsom, and the divinely governed simulation, the Phaeus universe.
How so?
Well, think about the observer effect, the fact that the act of measuring seems to change the outcome. In this framework, that's not just a weird quirk of physics. It's a constant, built-in reminder that the self's cognition, its cursi, is fundamentally entangled with the reality it observes and interacts with.
The system is literally telling us, through physics, your choices, your awareness, matter in how reality manifests.
Wow, it's deeply embedded. Now let's scale way down. Look at the ant motif, the Namla, in Surah 27. The sources are adamant. This isn't a charming story about literal ants talking to King Solomon.
Okay, so what is it about?
It's presented as a critical lesson in cognitive risk management. The ant, the Namla, represents the internal feedback loop, a tiny, seemingly insignificant linguistic motif, a small bait or cognitive command, an operational detail that's super easy to overlook when you're focused on the big picture.
All right, the story goes, Solomon, representing the powerful sovereign self, is marching with his huge armies, his vast cognitive resources.
Exactly.
And this tiny ant warns the other ants to get back in their dwellings, otherwise Solomon and his armies will crush them while they perceive it not. Unconscious error.
That is the core danger highlighted. When the self attains great power, great knowledge, great capability, its own unexamined rational thinking, its sheer momentum, can inadvertently destroy those tiny, crucial internal warnings or subtle commands.
Like swatting a fly without thinking. But the fly was carrying a vital message.
Perfect analogy. The lesson extracted via OQM is that true sovereign governance demands absolute cognitive silence and linguistic discernment called hukam. You need meticulous attention to even the smallest signals to prevent catastrophic cognitive errors stemming from unconscious assumptions. Miss the ant's instruction and your own power becomes destructive.
Okay, so the OQM is the engine for extracting truth. We need to pay attention to even the smallest signals. What are the core, ongoing practices the self needs to follow to stay aligned and operationalize this day to day?
The framework highlights two primary functions, formalized as salat and zakat.
Salat usually translated as prayer, but again redefined here.
Completely. Salat is defined as self-governance. It's the core, primary, ongoing function of the self. Think of it as active, disciplined, continuous calibration.
Calibration of what?
Of the self's internal state, its Arsh and Kursi ensuring its actions, decisions, and internal processing are constantly synchronized with the divinely guided cycle with Al-Haq. It's applying the governance protocol to yourself consistently.
Okay, continuous self-management and alignment.
Okay.
And the second function, zakat, usually means charity or purification tax.
Again, a deeper operational meaning. Zakat is defined as network development. It's not just giving money, it's the required knowledge transfer or developmental assistance. Yes. It's framed as the necessary due. I think of it like a connectivity tensor. The way an aligned self helps correct the collective bias, the more network, of the wider network of selves. It's the obligation that comes with clarity. You have a duty to help others develop, to share the insight that helps them align.
So salat is like polishing your own internal mirror to reflect al-Haq accurately.
Right.
And zakat is the obligation to then use that reflected light to help illuminate the path for others in the network. It's fundamentally systemic.
Exactly. It's about contributing to the overall health and development of the entire cognitive network and completing the loop. Successfully navigating your internal challenges, Iblis, and avoiding systemic corruption, Shayan, through the disciplined practice of salat and zakat is what proves the self is trustworthy and amin.
And that trustworthiness maximizes both its internal efficiency, its baraka,
Yes, its utility.
and its positive contribution to the overall network development coefficients.
You've got the whole cycle there.
Okay, incredible. Let's try to pull this all together into one final takeaway idea for you, the listener. A key part of this ADGE framework seems to be how it handles fairness. It introduces this concept of capacity, or wusaha.
Yes, this is absolutely crucial for understanding accountability within the system. It states very clearly that your potential isn't some kind of abstract, unlimited choice. It's strictly defined as meaningful choice within the specific circumstances and capacity of your life.
Meaning,
Meaning you're only held responsible for the choices you could realistically make, given your unique resources, knowledge, limitations, strengths, weaknesses, everything that makes up your specific context. It removes that crushing burden of universal expectation, you know. You're measured against your potential, not someone else's.
that provides a very specific kind of fairness. So the ultimate al-Haq, the core governance truth we extract from pressing this entire framework, is that the universe isn't random or chaotic.
Not at all. It's a perfectly designed, closed-loop developmental system. Your suffering, your struggles, the internal biases you fight, the external challenges you face, none of that is an accident or a flaw in the design.
data.
It is the mandatory data output of the free will simulation. Every single challenge, whether it feels like a test or a consequence of a mistake, is perfectly tailored. And its ultimate purpose, to maximize your potential to achieve that deep, earned state of safety, security, and certainty.
Okay, so here's the final thought to leave you with. If every single thing in your life, from huge global events down to that small, nagging internal bias you dealt with this morning, if all of it is a meticulously designed pomegranate just
Waiting to be pressed.
waiting to be pressed by the OQM to reveal a specific lesson for your cognitive growth, then what specific event, challenge, or even annoyance from your own day right now are you going to choose to press to find that hidden operational governance truth that al-Haq